I felt so much that now, yeah, like you said, I wouldn't say I like it, but it doesn't bother me. I just see it as a part of the process,
Mhm.
and it pushes me to move forward. And yeah, like you said, people that I truly believe, and I'm 100% convinced that if you can't fail, if you cannot accept failure, you're never going to succeed, ever.
You're listening to Economics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. I'm glad this episode with Marc Chapon came around when it did. It gave me a chance to compare his unique approach to dropshipping and e-commerce, using artistically minded resources like Etsy and Pinterest, to the others I've talked to so far. What you'll learn from this episode is that you can have an approach to this industry that suits you and works for you. Marc Chapon, good to have you here. Thank you so much for being on Economics, a Debutify podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So we have to begin with the question of all questions is, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Marc Chapon, and I was born and raised in Morocco, but I'm actually French. My background is in hospitality management and the culinary arts. And that's how I started working in kitchens all over the world, in the US, in Spain, in Switzerland, in France, in Paris. And the thing is, that's my main passion. I love food. And obviously, if you check my Instagram profile, you're going to see like, it's all around food.
I
But
may or may not be looking at it right now as you're talking to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the thing is, I always loved making food, but something was missing. Since I was young, I always wanted to create something for myself, and I always had a hard time blending in companies, And I know a lot of people say that they don't like to have bosses, and they complain about the bosses and stuff. But me, like, it's just I couldn't breathe working for somebody else to the point that I was really anxious. I was truly unhappy, and this fact speaks for itself. I got fired like 5 times in a couple of years,
Mhm.
5 different jobs, and it's just because I couldn't blend in. I couldn't just not say what I had on my mind, what I had on my heart, and it just wasn't made for me. So at one point, I just started to dabble in the internet, and then I realized like discovered like social media marketing, things like this, and then I did some affiliate marketing and so on. And it's just I just wanted to find a way to create like a business for myself without spending too much money. And so I started like I said, just reading information, random information on the internet, and then I just decided I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stop everything. I'm going to quit everything. I went back to live with my parents, which was a huge sacrifice because I was independent. I was living in my flat. I had a nice girlfriend at the time, and it just was I just left everything and started my business from scratch. Everything, a lot of people thought I was crazy. My parents, they always been very supportive because my dad is an entrepreneur as well, so he understands.
Mhm.
But it was very, yeah, it was tough in the beginning, but I knew it was the right decision. And yeah, and it just took me a few months and of really hard work. I was like working nonstop. I was not doing anything else, and it started to pay off. So that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much how I started. Like I said, I started with a social media agency, then affiliate marketing. But then what really caught my eye was e-com. I always loved creating brands and designs and things like this. So I don't know, I love the idea. And then I just loved I enjoyed the journey, I love the process. That's why I tell my students all the time. It's like enjoying the process is more important than reaping the reward, because
Mhm.
that's how you become happy, and that's what really fulfill you. So yeah, that's pretty much how I started, and pretty much who I am in a nutshell.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that issue as well. I haven't exactly been keeping track in a log or anything, but I was removed from about 4 or 5 jobs,
Yeah.
two of which was my fault, two just because they just didn't. It was a global company. They couldn't handle everybody outside of their home country. And, it can be frustrating because sometimes we do well and
Yeah.
then we lose our position and it's
Yeah.
out of our hands.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we don't gel and we don't get along with people and it is in our hands and it is the reason why we get terminated. So for me, and maybe you felt this way too, but for me, the reason why I started pursuing media as my main profession is that really, I didn't really have anywhere else to go by that point. I tried to do it the traditional way, and it just booted me out. It said, no, you can't do this the traditional way. This is not what you're meant for.
Yeah, yeah, no, but that's exactly how I felt. I knew that I wasn't made for, like you said, traditional way, just doing what everybody else did. And like I had like kind of a weird childhood because I was I had dyslexia and people made me feel like I was different. So
Hmm.
since I'm a kid, I was always the weird kid, the different kid, and I always had a hard time blending in. I was always different than everybody else, and I wasn't, the cool kid or anything when I was in high school, and I was, yeah, pretty much, bullied on and things like this. So it just shaped me into who I am today, and I think that's why I couldn't blend in and do what everybody else, because I wasn't everybody else. I was always different,
Hmm.
and kind of.
I'll tell you a quick story about me in elementary school, just to show you how I'm relating, and then we'll go into some of the
Yeah,
stuff you do in
of course,
e-commerce.
yeah, yeah.
But our objective here in Ecomonics is we'd like to get to know the people too. That's
Yeah,
to me that's kind of like my strong suit, anyways. But
the fun part. Yeah.
um, so they brought in this. I guess it was just this person. I think she worked for Scholastic or one of those book companies, and she sits all of us down at a table, me, and everybody else in the class, all the boys. It was all the boys,
Yeah.
and she goes around the room and she's asking everybody, "So why don't you read more?" And one by one, they go, "Sports, sports." Sports, 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 sports. And it gets to me. Well, I don't really feel like I'm reading stuff that really interests me. I like reading magazines for video games, and sometimes video game magazines they focus on one game in particular, and sometimes they're general. All right, next, sports, 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 sports. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
think, yes.
it's been a long road.
Yeah. Well, it always is. I guess it's just
Yeah.
it's never easy. Yeah.
So let's make sure that the fine audience know what it is that you're up to these days. And I just want to make sure that I've covered all your operations in one fell swoop. So there's the Dropshipping Elite Facebook page and Gold program, which is its own website with one of the most eye-grabbing logos I've ever seen. There's a Spocket course, and your membership on the Dropshipping Council, and also a Pinterest Ads University. Is that everything?
Yes, that's right. That's right. It's just like, yeah, to summarize again, like, yeah, I have the normal group, which is free, the Pinterest Elite, and on Facebook. I have the Mastermind, which is Dropshipping Elite Gold. Like it's like I said, $47 a month, and people can talk to me on Messenger. And I have obviously my dropshipping businesses. And last but not least, yes, the newest Pinterest course, because I will probably talk about this later because that's a big point. I don't believe in using one traffic source. I feel like this is not sustainable.
Hmm.
So I always recommend people to use different traffic sources, because if Facebook fails or Pinterest fails or anything fails, then you still have a few others that bring you traffic. And when I started drop shipping, I was only using Facebook, like 99% of other people in the industry. And the thing is, one day you're gonna make a lot of money, and the other day you're gonna lose a lot of money, and it's just not sustainable over the years. And any really good drop shippers, and Ricky would be the first one to tell you that you need to use multiple traffic sources. That's why I created the Pinterest University, to teach people how to use it aside from the traditional Facebook.
Excellent. And then since I've been going through each member of the Dropshipping Council in succession, I want to know how you got into it and what's your specialty in the council.
Actually, the founding member, Shishir
Hmm.
Nigam, he contacted me. I think I was it's Ricky actually that told him about me. And he contacted me and said, "Hey, I heard about you from Ricky, and he said you'd be a great addition to the council. And would you like to be to join it?" I said, "Yeah, sure, that would be great." And I like the idea of learning from people that have pretty much the same success, and have accomplished things in the industry, because that's the thing with most Facebook groups, is like people ask beginners questions, and that's okay. But when you
Yeah.
reach a certain point, when you are not the pinnacle, but when you reach a certain point, you feel lonely, because you don't know who to ask. So that's the good thing I like about the dropshipping council. And yeah, my specialty there is mostly Pinterest, and also a lot. I mean, pretty much everything. Since I'm a founding member, I just reply to questions and also learn a lot, from the members, because there's some great members there. So yeah, just learn a lot from them, and answer pretty much everything. And again, my category, like, just for me, is Pinterest. But again, I
Mhm.
answer in every single one. Yeah.
Okay. I have this a little bit like a running campaign in regards to the council is that me being a nerd, I have this picture of like an Arthurian round table where everybody is like a member of the Knights of the Round.
Oh, it's
So
cool.
yeah. So I'm hoping each of you find some way to identify yourself because I noticed some of the people in the ecom industry like to title themselves like a king or a wizard or a
Yeah,
beast
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
anything like that. So I'm encouraging each and every one of you to come up with something like that, and I will
Oh, that
lose an
would be
arm on
cool.
this hill.
I like the idea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd as well. I like I like this. Yeah, it's cool. Sounds cool.
Excellent. So Pinterest, let's get into it. I have to admit, I was going through your research and I got lots of the questions prepared, but it didn't occur to me that Pinterest is really something that you value, and I am sorry about that. But
No, it's fine.
let's talk about it. So, like, so you get to Pinterest. How did that fit into your overall e-commerce journey, and how did it end up standing out so much to you?
I started using Pinterest out of pure necessity. I was
Oh,
actually not struggling with Facebook ads, but I didn't like the lack of consistency. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that I could launch a product for a month, it was working fine, then it stopped working for no reason. I just hated it. And instead of accepting it, I just figured, okay, I'm just gonna work on different platforms. And the thing is, I don't only use Pinterest. I also use Snapchat. I use Google. I use the main platform out there, but Pinterest is the one that I really liked because yeah, it's one of the first one I tried aside from Facebook, and really liked the results that I got from there just because of the consistency. People will tell you, yeah, but I love Facebook because you can scale really hard. Yeah, it's true, but the thing is, like I said, when you scale, then your profit margin goes down, and it's not really profitable. With Pinterest,
mhm.
I have campaigns that have been running for more than a year now, and I didn't touch anything. Like I didn't, you know, tweak them or anything, and it's still making me profit to that day, and I didn't do anything to it. That's what I love about it. Is the consistency. It's like I can sleep, happily nice and not thinking about, oh my god, my Facebook ad, it gave me so much anxiety, man. Like I had a
Mhm.
burnout recently. It gave me so much anxiety because it's just like you're always thinking, oh my god, my Facebook ads will tank, this will tank, and if the Facebook ad tank, my business will tank. It's not sustainable, like I said in the beginning of the interview. So that's why I use Pinterest ads, and the rest is history. And that's why I will never go back. And I use Facebook ads, but I use all of the other platforms, and I feel less anxious, more happy, and yeah, and the business is stronger.
That's excellent. One thing I can definitely see about Pinterest having an advantage over Facebook is the level of, well, interest, because it's called Pinterest. I realize what I did there. But
Yeah,
people on Facebook, I don't know. It's almost like people go into Facebook. I talked about this with, I think this was with Yasha's Coup, where people go onto Facebook because they're looking to just have a discovery, whether they're discovering what somebody made that day or a wedding or something in the news.
yeah,
It's all over the place. So people's minds are going all over the place. One minute they're seeing something about politics, the next minute they're seeing a cat video, and it's very diverse.
very
So
random. Yeah,
me, honestly, I don't. I used Pinterest for about 6 weeks. I thought it was fine, but there wasn't anything that was drawing me to it. This was years ago. So, what are you seeing about the audience when they go onto Pinterest? Are they going onto there just kind of looking to be surprised, or are people going in there based off their interests and they want to continue to pursue that? Like, is it more about them hunting down their own specificity and their own niche?
that's the main thing. Facebook is not designed for e-commerce. It's really purely a social platform where people exchange pictures and stuff, and just like watch random things, like you just said. Pinterest is almost designed for e-commerce because people go there to get ideas about things they want to buy, or they save the idea and the pin to actually come back later and buy it. So it's all about ideas. So then if you're selling, I don't know, like how do you say, home decor niche, and you're
Mhm.
selling like a beautiful, I don't know, lamp or whatever. They will see your lamp, they're like, oh, that's nice, it would be nice for my for my living room, whatever. And then they save the pin and they come back later and they buy it. And that's the thing, it's like it's a platform where people want to go buy things, or at least get ideas, so they might buy later. And that's the main difference with Facebook. And also one of the other different is that it's almost, I would say, Pinterest combines the best of Facebook and the best of Google, because you have interest targeting, but you also have keywords targeting. So people are actually, you can use keywords to launch campaigns and stuff. And when people click, for example, they're gonna write lamp or write whatever, your ad's gonna appear. And again, now you have a warm traffic. You have somebody that is already interested in buying something. They're already motivated, which is not like Facebook where they see your ad out of nothing. They don't want to buy. They don't have this in their mind. It's not, they're not, that's the thing. And that's the main thing again with Pinterest. It's you deal with warm traffic a lot, and it's way easier to convert warm traffic. Somebody that wants to buy, that is in this purchasing mindset. And that's why it's so effective, really. That's the main reason. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, that never really clicked for me, but Pinterest is, as a platform, it's doing the remarketing for you because
Yeah,
people pin ideas to their board.
that's
So
right.
when they go back to their board, it's reminding them, and so they're seeing that advertisement, or well, I'll ask you about that too, but they're seeing the image in relation to what you're doing again for free, basically.
Yeah. And it's also super cheap compared to Facebook. I get thousands of views for like, like the quarter of a CPM, not even like of Facebook. Like it's just crazy cheap. So you get a lot of clicks and good quality clicks as well for nothing. And it's just you can get really cheap conversions, and again very stable conversions for a very long time. So that's what it's all about. I prefer, like, that's what I tell people. People may not sound sexy. I prefer to make less money, but in a more stable way, rather than make a lot of money and then nothing, and then a lot of money and then nothing. Because first, it's not sustainable. Second, it's really bad on your mental health and stuff. It's very very stressful. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah, and I think too, just from your own life experience, is that you've had a number of ups and downs in your career trajectory.
Yeah,
So to be able to recognize that and
yeah,
to aim for consistency is
yeah,
a way to, I think, especially helps your well-being.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Pinterest isn't sexy, then I don't know how Facebook. uh, yeah. Okay, I'll ask you one more question about Pinterest, and then I want to talk to you about some of your drop shipping strategies. So, for people like myself who may be really realizing the potential for Pinterest for the first time, what do people do to get started?
Well, first, I have a course, so if people want to join, of
Yep.
course, they can learn there. If you obviously, you don't want to pay for the course right away and stuff, you can find out a few introduction videos on YouTube. You can learn a few things. I learned by myself because there's some similarities to Facebook in the beginning, and I just started dabbling with it and start working with it. But yeah, I would say that that's the issue, that there's not a lot of information. That's why I created the course, not to make a crazy amount of money, but it's just really because there's really not a good information out there. But you can start just by watching a few videos. I have an introduction in one of my Facebook group as well. So it's an introduction to Pinterest ads. Again, it's not very advanced, but still it's enough to launch a first campaign. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, excellent. So, the next thing I want to ask you is about you're using Etsy as a drop shipping source. So, first thing that comes to my mind regarding Etsy, and it's kind of along the same lines as Pinterest, and that there is an artistic theme throughout both of them. But the thing that I expect about Etsy is that there's a large variety of products, but I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of quantity. So when I think of Etsy, I think artisans and I think craftspeople, and they make small batches of
Yeah.
products. So it wouldn't occur to me to look on Etsy for suppliers for drop shipping. So tell us about how you came up with this strategy and what's the process for it.
Not to be cocky or anything, but the main difference
It's okay. A little is good.
with me and a lot of drop shippers when they started is I wasn't looking to make money quick or and use my customers. I wanted to make people happy and really provide a beautiful product, and I was proud of it. And I was proud of making people happy because we're selling pleasure. So I really wanted to make people happy and make want them to come back. And I realized when I started using AliExpress, which is because everybody was doing it, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. I was like, dude, this is really crappy products. Obviously the shipping times are just crazy. This is not my idea of a good brand. The thing is, I've studied branding, I've studied marketing a bit when I was in hospitality management. So I knew those things, and I really love those aspects of marketing, the branding and stuff. And I didn't believe in AliExpress, period. I just didn't like the model. And the thing is, I'm not afraid of taking the path less traveled, and that's why I did. I just thought, okay, I'm not gonna do AliExpress, which was a bold move because obviously not a lot of people were doing it. But I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And everybody was telling me, oh, but you're never gonna make a profit because the products are super expensive. Oh, but you're never going to find the right product. And I did. And the thing is, it's like everything. The main difference there is like you said, yes, there's not as many products on AliExpress, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But if you know how to look, and for some niches, like for example, jewelry, home decor, baby, and which is, dogs and stuff, and big niches like that, you still get a lot of cool products. And that's how I started. And I found some really cool products from really amazing suppliers that, loved manufacturing their products. And I pretty much bonded with them. I was talking with them on WhatsApp, we're exchanging ideas. And it's so much more fulfilling than just buying some crap from AliExpress and then selling it for a more expensive price to somebody else, and it's going to break in 2 days, and then they could come back to you and complain. It wasn't my idea of a business. So yeah, that's pretty much how I started. Like now, I do a lot of print on demand as well, which you can find a lot of print on demand ideas on Etsy, which is great. And then you do it yourself, but you can find the idea and the designs there. But yeah, that's pretty much how I started, and it was really it's good. It's great. It's a great model and works really good, and you can make a lot of money doing so. And people actually appreciate it, and they will give you great reviews and come back.
So with the branding side of it, I'm not sure if they have it branded, or do you get to apply your own brand to the product once you're selling it from your shop?
That's the thing. In the beginning, obviously, when you test, you don't brand it right away because you don't
Mhm.
really know, especially as a beginner, you don't really know if it's going to work or not. So I don't recommend branding right away as a beginner. But when you start seeing some traction and it start working, the thing with Etsy is like a lot of suppliers will allow you to have your own packaging, your own logo and everything. So they will remove that packaging and add your logo and everything, which is, can sound crazy, but yeah, they're actually happy to do it. They're good at what they do, which means that they create beautiful products, but they are terrible at marketing. They don't know what they're doing and they just don't know where to start. And that's where we come in. That's why if you're a marketer, you can really do a lot of damage there because you sell a product on Facebook or any other platforms that nobody else has ever seen. So you pretty much have no competition on social media, and you sell a beautiful product. So it's win-win situation. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, that was the next question that I had in the chamber
Yeah.
as well. Is that in your video you talk about how the sellers on Etsy, they are great at making their product, but
Yeah.
like you say, they're not good at
That's
selling.
the thing. They just don't. They just don't. It's not that hard, but they just don't. It's not their business, and everybody do their own thing, and it's just it's not in their skill set.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to put myself in their shoes, sometimes my thought would be, depending on how they view being an artist, is almost like selling is almost like sacrilege to them.
Yeah.
Like the idea of selling, like, okay, I
Yeah.
just want to help a few people here or there, but I don't want to turn into an enterprise. I don't want to turn into an industry. I don't
Yeah.
want to harm the whales. So, have you had to put people's mind at ease as to what it is you plan on doing, or
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
expand a little bit on like the initial relationship with them?
Yeah, a lot. And that's the main thing between Etsy and AliExpress is that there's more work upfront because you need to contact the supplier. You can't just like grab a product and start selling. So you need to make them trust you first. Show them your website, make sure that they accept, because if they don't accept, you can't do it. And then yes, you do have to reassure them. You have to explain them what dropshipping is, because dropshipping has bad reputation because of a lot of morons out there that don't do a good job, and they just work from their, I don't know, mom's basement or something. They never fulfill the products, and then people think, oh, dropshipping is a scam. It's not. It's just a system, and the scammer is the person that is actually doing the business anyway. So yeah, you have to explain them that. You have to again make them trust you, and then when you do that, then it's okay. Then after, it's the same process with any other supplier, but it's even stronger because you have communication with them. So if anything goes wrong, or if you have issue with the product, which you will, because it doesn't matter the product, you'll have return, you'll have chargebacks, and you'll have people that complain for no reasons. At least you can contact with the supplier. If you have a good relationship with them, they can replace the product for free. They can do a lot of things for you. They can give you extra discounts as well. It's again, it's a win-win situation, and it's yeah. When you do this, you don't want to go back to AliExpress.
And also, I think too, you have such a finely honed creative edge
Mm.
that you can speak their language
Yeah,
a lot more efficiently.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's important too. I would say for people who have that creative mindset, that artistic
yeah,
mindset, I think they would have a little bit of an easier time
Yeah.
negotiating with people who also speak that same language.
Yeah, it's all about being honest, really, because we're just human
Yeah.
beings. If you show them that you actually truly care about what they do, because me, I'm excited about what I sell. That's the difference. I'm excited about what I sell. I love what I do. So when I sell something, when I find a supplier a product that I found super cool, I'm super excited. I'm like a kid in a toy store, So I just tell them that I said I love what they do, and I would love to get more information about it and learn about it, and they get excited too because it's their baby, and then that's how you create a bond, and yeah, it's way more. I mean, it's real, compared to just selling craps and stuff. It's just real, and it's just more sustainable.
I'm in my 30s. If I were to go to a toy store, I would still be excited. As soon as I get to the Nerf guns, I just sound like an American. Oh yeah, yeah, the new model.
Yeah,
Yeah, I pick on them, but I love their people.
yeah. So,
So you're also featured on Spocket, who specialize in US and EU dropshipping suppliers. The
yeah,
way I had the question prepared was comparing it to AliExpress, but we've kind of gone over
yeah,
the basics of this. It's easier to forge a relationship. AliExpress, the quality of it is, well, your reputation is brutal honesty, so you'll do a better job of characterizing it than I could.
yeah.
But let's just make sure, are there any other pros and cons to the US and the EU versus AliExpress? And do you identify any pros to using AliExpress, or in your view, is it just really not worth it at all for anybody?
I don't like to be honest. I don't usually recommend using AliExpress. That's not what I. Yeah, I just don't like it at all. But if you are in a niche where you cannot find any other products anywhere else, and you don't have a choice, which is pretty rare because you can always find something, on Amazon or anything. But if you can't find anything good as well, then use it, but you like do it in a smart way. So you're gonna use because I at one point use AliExpress a little bit, but I use it to test the product to see if it has traction. As soon as it shows the promises, I contact a private supplier or I hire an agent and I work with them, and then it's good because if you have a trustworthy agent, I provide a few in my group as well for free. And then you can talk to them and they will tell you, okay, this product is really bad, this product is good, and that's the same thing as working with American suppliers, and you also have good shipping. So in that case, it's good. But we're just working with AliExpress, like if your business is based around AliExpress, like for scaling and everything, then I really don't recommend it. I think it's terrible, and you will fail because it's not sustainable, and you just going to lose your money, and you're going to make a lot of people unhappy, and that's not what business is about.
So I read through your Spocket featured article,
Mhm.
and at this very moment, Google is still trying to convince me that it's spelled with an R. So they just need to let that one go. As a starting point, you talk about the likelihood of making a successful business take off with no money, and that is not likely at all.
Yeah,
You make the case that $1,000 is roughly enough to get started, but
yeah, roughly.
you had about 5,000 ready to go. So where does that $1,000 go to be effective?
Well, to be honest, I use that money mostly on ads, testing
Sure.
different products because I was, obviously I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to select the product that would sell because again, you can't just sell the first product you see. So mostly on ads, a bit on apps as well, but it's not much. It's mostly on ads, and like I said, I was pretty much in a new, like, how do you say, unexplored territory because I was like selling products from Etsy and I didn't know anybody that was doing it, especially when in the country where I was doing it in. So it was pretty tough, and I was testing various products and without much success. But because I was actually selling good products, I still got a few sales right away. I got my first sale on my first day, and just because I was selling good stuff. But again, it's not enough to scale and be profitable, but it helps. So people recognize it right away. So I started having sales. It was actually almost a pitfall in the beginning. I don't know if I talked about it in in this pocket article, but one of the issues that I experienced is like I fell in love with the products that I was selling, which is a good
Mhm.
thing. But you also have to realize that at one point you have to stop and pull the plug because I was spending money and money just because I was addicted to the sound of the Shopify, catching noise. And I was like super excited to get one sale, two sales a day. I didn't care that I was spending hundreds of dollars a day to get like a $10 profit margin on each sale. And I lost a lot of money in the beginning. Like, part of those 5K were lost like this, just because I actually lost more than 5K. 5K were the money that I lost, but I had a bit more than 5K. And yeah, because it's just I was spending and spending and spending, and then it just this money goes away. But I don't regret it. I mean, it's part of learning, and I teach that
Mhm.
to people, and I tell them that, yeah, just the right. I didn't have anybody telling me anything, so I just was just playing around and figuring things out.
Yeah, that was a great article, by the way. I was tempted to ask you to just kind of like go through the steps, but that's
Hmm.
it's going to take like the whole rest of this. But what I would recommend to people is to check out that article because what it does is it breaks down exactly how you got started with it
Yeah.
and all the way through to a pretty impressive number once it was all said and done.
Mhm.
So next thing I want to ask you about, and I'm excited to do this too because you talk about food and that you're a chef and that's a passion of yours.
Yeah.
And everyone that I talk to has a unique background. The first affiliate marketer we spoke to, Paul Motley, his background was chemistry. He studied chemistry in school. And I was curious with him as to how his training in chemistry informed how he does his business. And he said, well, chemistry teaches you about formula and about breaking things into their smaller elements. When you understand things on the fundamental level, you can build upwards and to create the whole
That's
picture.
great.
So with you and with your Michelin starred restaurant quality chef work, how does your passion for cooking, or if it does, how does that inform what you do in e-commerce?
Mostly imagination and sensitivity also. I'm very sensitive when it comes to details and making things really. I'm not. I mean, I used to be a perfectionist. I don't believe in it anymore because it slows you down. But really, just seeing small details that other people don't see, and that's really because of my culinary training. Because yeah, everything has to be perfect, and you get yelled at all the time. So there is like a huge pressure. Your brain gets wired that way. So imagination as well, because you have to think outside of the box to invent new dishes and invent new things. And I think that's probably why I went with Etsy as well. I just like reinvented the wheel, which is something we usually do a lot in the culinary industry. Yeah, I think outside of the box. I think that's mainly because of it. Yeah.
When I'm reading it, and it says that you have an honesty level that some would characterize as brutal.
Yeah.
My guess is that was imparted onto you from the restaurant industry. Like you said, you're getting shouted at a lot. Is that where it came from? Is someone like Gordon Ramsay like the norm, or is he the exception, or is he
No,
like
it's not. It's
I
not.
know he's an exaggeration. There's no way. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I maybe he is that way off camera, but go on.
He exaggerates a bit, but to be honest, it's close to that, and it's everywhere. It's not just him. It's mostly every chef are like this. And the thing is, I was actually despising people like this. And then when I started having employees and telling people what to do, I started being aggressive as well. And I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I'm turning into them, into one of them. And
Mhm.
it's just the industry, man. It's such a low pressure. It's not a lot of money. It's so tiring physically and mentally that you get super aggressive and on a really basic level. So you just show your teeth all the time, and it's just I didn't like how I was like cooking with my mom in the kitchen. I was aggressive to her because she was not cutting things quickly enough. It's just like now it's over, but like it's just when I think about it, it makes me laugh, man. Now, but I was terrorizing everybody, even my girlfriend. Like I was like she was afraid of cooking me something because I'm going to tell her, oh, this is not like this, it's not like that. I was yelling, go quicker. It's just it turns you into an aggressive individual. It's true. So I understand why people become like this, but the Chef Ramsay stuff, it's actually true. People think it's just for the show, but it's not. It's actually true, and some people are even worse. When people hit you, they burn you, they do crazy stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in the culinary industry that is not going anywhere else because in the it's almost like a mafia. The culinary industry. Everybody knows everybody else, and
Mhm.
if you dare talk about a chef, like a famous chef or something, you'll never find a good job in another good kitchen, like ever. So pretty much you have to shut up and not say anything and take it on the chin. And it's just I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that at all because it's just so unfair. And like some kids that were making, the kids learning in the kitchen that were 15 years old, 14 years old, and they were making them cry. It's just I don't know. I think it's just a bad mindset, but it is what it is. And again, it's just it teaches aggressivity, and I don't think it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, Ramsey being a television star, it promotes negativity, and even I have to admit some of his lines are killer. There was one that I remember I must have seen like 5 years ago, and it still makes me laugh. Where he says, "This turkey is so undercooked that a skilled surgeon can save its life." All right, that's pretty good.
No, it's good, but actually, that's the thing. Most chefs, they don't have this humor, but they are very aggressive and very mean. I had a few chefs, like when I was actually trained in Paris. I had my main chef. He had like this sense of humor. He was aggressive, but he had this sense of humor. But he also had a big heart. So he was a good person. He's a great person. But it's just like he was roughing me up a bit. And him I actually like, because I don't mind somebody being aggressive with me if they want to teach me something, they want me to learn, and they
Yeah.
just expect great things from me. It's fine. I just don't like somebody being mean just to be mean and not teaching anything, and that's what I'm against. But yeah, the chef humor is pretty funny, and it's not just Ramsey. It's just like at one point we're doing like an assignment on fish, and we're cooking fish, and there was one of my colleagues that overcooked the fish, and he said, yeah, apologize to the fish, he died for nothing. And it's just the way it is. And the guy wasn't laughing when he said it. It was dead serious, and it's just the way it is. It's a really really weird industry. It just yeah, and it's super old, and the reason it's like this is because most people that go. That's why I think I didn't blend in as well as much. Is most people that go into this industry don't have much education. It's mostly people that failed at school, but early on, like when they were, very young, like 12, 13, and they couldn't make it at school, so they went to culinary school. So you have a lot of people that are very basic minds, and yeah, if you're basic and if you don't understand how to communicate and stuff like this, you're an aggressive person. And if somebody was aggressive with you since the beginning, then you're going to be aggressive as well. And it's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I like you. I'm a pretty sensitive guy too, and I'll take my criticism on the chin. And like you, I don't feel like meanness is really worth what it's worth the oxygen. When I was younger, in high school and in college,
Yeah.
people were being dicks to each other. It's all fun and games. But I'm in my 30s now. I got bills to pay. I'm like, I don't want to put up with people who are like this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and and the thing that I especially don't like is when the meanness is paired with the criticism. Like if somebody is being rude or is just being toxic, even, but then they also have valid criticism. I feel like that doesn't do the education side of it any
Mhm.
favors, because I think when people are attacked like that, they repel the ideas as
Yeah.
well as they repel,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
actually ends up making people worse in the long run.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I completely agree. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, but they don't know
Yeah.
that in the in the culinary industry. They don't know that. They just push until you break or you bend. They just the way it is.
Yeah, I got one more point to make about it, and one more question I did want to ask you about the culinary industry, and then
Yeah.
I'll let it go.
Sure.
But my curiosity, I have to rein it in. I mean, one point that I observe about the restaurant industry and the food industry as a whole is that a lot of people are adept at it. There are some really gifted chefs out there, and I've you clearly got the
Hmm.
gift as well. But also, everybody is around food. Like everybody encounters food, so it's possible that everybody who could be a chef has a chance to discover that. Whereas everybody who could be a NASCAR driver or an astronaut probably won't get the chance to discover that, because there's no way for people to encounter that. So, in
Yeah.
that sense, there is a broad scope of who is exposed to that potential talent. I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of things I might be good at that I'll never know, because I might
Yeah.
never be in an operating table, or I might never
Yeah.
be in a NASCAR.
Yeah, but that's also an issue actually, because that's exactly what you said, and I think I talked about this with my dad recently. The main thing about cooking is that because everybody cooks pretty much. I mean, we not everybody is not like professional cooks, but everybody pretty much boils an egg or does something like that, and I think it makes them feel entitled, like they feel like they
Uh,
know food, so they're gonna judge. They're gonna be customers are extremely hard, and so you could make the best food in the world in the eyes of a professional chef. A random person is gonna tell you it tastes like shit. Like just that's just the way it is, and it's just mine. wobbling to me, but it's just the way it is. It's just because we all have different, I don't know how to say in English, but different palette. You know, if you can say that,
Yeah, no, that is
the
the word.
taste bud,
Yeah, different palette.
and it's just we don't feel this thing the same way, and you have to educate your palate. You have to really learn things about taste, different, different flavors and stuff. It's like when you're a kid, you just like pasta and whatever. But then you grow up and you start liking other stuff like oysters, wine, and different things. It's the same thing with adults. Some people were never exposed to great food and they were just eating fast food their whole life. And trust me, there's a
Mhm.
lot of people like that. If you give them refined food, they're going to tell you it sucks because to them it tastes bad. And that's where it's pretty hard is you really have to adapt because you can't convince it's like everything, you can't make everybody happy. Even if you have the best steak or the best whatever, you're always going to have somebody that's going to tell you I don't like it because you always ate overcooked steak or overcooked fish, is going to tell you oh my fish is undercooked, but no, it's not undercooked, it's the way it should be cooked. And that's very hard when you deal with customers in general in the culinary industry. It's because of that, because everybody, like you said, are exposed to it compared to like a race driver, or not even that because people drive, but like an astronaut, yeah, for sure. People have no
Mhm.
idea what it is. But cooking, they think they do. And a lot of people think they're actually specialists. You know, if you listen to other people, they're going to tell you, oh, I'm going to make you my specialty. You're going to see. And it's just, to me as a chef, it's hard because every time I eat at somebody's place, they make me try a lot of things. They tell me, what do you think? When you think, and it's just we don't have the same level, but it's just not their fault. It's just like that's what I do. I eat things, I go in different pastry shops and different restaurants just to try a different flavor. It's my passion. So we're not on the same level. So when I'm going to try a random thing, I'm not going to like it because I'm going to think it's too garlicky. But for them, it's enough because they don't have, you know what I mean? They don't have the same sensitivity to food, and that's where it's a bit hard to connect into people that are not like me. That's the hardest
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience in the comedy community, obviously laughter is something everybody is exposed to,
Yeah,
or at least fingers
yeah.
crossed. All
Oh,
right, so
yes.
everybody
It's
at
pretty
one point
similar. It's
thinks,
pretty similar. Yeah,
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 and so the comedy community can be pretty brutal. But what is an advantage to it, and maybe this is it's not quite as open in the restaurant industry, but people can go to open mics to just try their material out, and so if they suck, they'll find out
yeah,
and then some people they say they're determined and they keep going, and then maybe they make a breakthrough, but
yeah,
there is that pushback there and there's that harshness to it. Now I don't think there is such a thing as like an open mic in food. Like I think you still have to get a job,
yeah. You
you
do.
have to get hired, you have to get paid for it. So
You do.
that ramps up the pressure because okay, well now I'm earning money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an idea is some way for people to have like an open table concept where people can and customers they know that the chefs are trying out, so they can rate the food and say
Yeah,
no, this is
yeah, yeah.
garbage, just made me vomit.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's actually a cool idea. But yeah, like, it's pretty similar to comedy, like you said, because everybody laughs, but everybody has different sense of humor, and something that might be funny for somebody won't be funny for somebody else. And it's pretty much the same thing with cooking. Somebody that tastes good for someone is not going to taste good for somebody else. That's where, like, the way I cook, like if I cook for my dad, or if I cook my girlfriend, if I cook for anyone, I'm always going to adapt to their taste because I know them, I know what they like, I know which how I can push the seasoning,
Right.
how I can push certain things. I don't do the same thing for everybody else because I know that everybody has their own cliche in their head of what a perfect dish is, and that's where it's a bit tricky. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's reading the room, right? It's
yeah, yeah,
understanding the
exactly.
audience.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so this is the point that you make in the content that you've put out is the differentiation between this is not a hobby, this is a serious business.
Yeah,
And I wanted to square that with something else that's been going through my mind as I talk to people is that so you obviously Shishir Nagam, him and his partner are still working full time. They kept their full time job even when they got into drop shipping. So it wasn't that they had to abandon what they were doing to focus on this, but they did have to take it seriously.
yeah.
So what would you say is the recommended time required to do this, and how does somebody have the mindset to take it seriously while still taking other things seriously?
So yeah, like you said, it's definitely possible. People did it, like Shishinigami, for sure they did. But like me, I couldn't. I had to focus on one thing, and I wanted to stop everything and just focus on this entire thing. If you want to combine both things, you have to be organized. So if you work from you have a 9 to 5, You come back at 5, you can't just play video games and watch Netflix. You need to do what you have to do. If you have kids or whatever, of course you have to take care of the kids, but then for an hour and two, and then you have to work from 7 to midnight every day. And
Mhm.
there's no way around it. Like, it's just, if you want to make things happen, and I'm sure they did. I'm sure they made a lot of sacrifices because they didn't have a lot of time. So they are hardworking for sure. I see how much he works on the dropshipping council and stuff, and he has more work now. So it definitely works a lot, and you can tell. That's the thing. It's like,
Mhm.
people think when I say it's not a hobby, it means that you can't expect to succeed easily and make a lot of money quick, which most people think it's the case. They think they're just going to start, they're going to crush it, they're going to become rich, they're going to buy the Lamborghini, and that's it. That's pretty much what people think. And that's to come back to what you said earlier when you said I'm direct and people think I'm pretty brutal. And it's not just only from the current industry. It's just that I hate bullshit, man. I'm allergic to it. I always love fairness, and I always love people being nice to each other. And I always hated people lying to each other. That's why I hate most gurus with a passion. And I can mention the name. I don't care. I really don't care. It's just that lying to somebody that is going to save that money for so long, and then you're going to spend on your stupid course and not get anything out of it. I just think it's stealing, and those people should go in jail, literally. And that's why I'm so direct, and I tell people, listen, like, if you don't want to hear the truth, then don't listen to me. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm just going to be honest. And to me, there's no bullshit, and you can't make money quick. That's guaranteed. And it's like everything. Like, I've tried a lot of things in my life, and every time I realized, oh, I'm going to do this because it seems easy, it wasn't. It's never easy, and you have to push through it. That's why it's important to enjoy the journey. And when you do, then you push through it, and it happens at one point. There's no secret. Like, I'm no genius. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not. It's just, yeah, I'm a normal guy, and I just, because I worked hard and I use good sense and logic, and I made it happen. That's it. And everybody can, but most people are lazy, and you couldn't believe how many people are actually lazy, man. Actually, students that I gave the whole blueprint to, and they just don't do it. They just don't do it. They have the course, they have everything, they have me, they can speak to me, and then they give up after a month, and they say, oh, this is not for me. No, this takes too long. It's insane. It's just insane to me. But yeah, it is what it is. If they want to get scammed, then I guess they can go see those big gurus
Yeah.
and lose their money. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like yesterday and the day before, I split it in two, but I watched the Karate Kid for the first time,
Are you
and
serious?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I knew the story,
No,
but
no, 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 no. It's just, I'm saying this because I started watching 2 days ago. There's a Karate Kid as
oh
well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm not
oh yeah,
kidding.
okay,
I'm not
hang on,
kidding.
I think I know why this happened. Did you get into Cobra Kai?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That was
I
it.
watched.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cobra
yeah,
Kai
yeah.
came out on Netflix. I was excited to watch it. I'm like, gosh darn it! All right, I gotta go rewatch the Karate Kid.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the thing because I do martial
I'm
arts.
having dreams now. I'm having dreams now where I'm in a dojo and I'm training.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. Like, I do martial arts, so I was interested by Cobra Kai. I didn't know Karate Kid or anything, and then, yeah, like you said, I finished watching the first, and now I'm watching the second. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I love the. I'm not gonna say anything, but the season finale in that is like some of the coolest TV.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really, really cool.
It's great. So, well, anyways, the reason why I bring it up, other than the gush, is that one of spoiler alert for people
Yeah,
who don't want to put this on pause, is that he's training with his sensei, Mr. Miyagi, and Mr.
yeah,
Miyagi takes him through these muscle memory
yeah,
exercises where he's just painting a fence,
yeah, yeah,
sanding the
yeah,
floor, waxing
yeah,
the car, and he doesn't get it.
yeah,
And but he has to trust his sensei. His sensei doesn't tell him why he's doing
yeah,
it, and it's almost like, if I tell you why, you might resist the idea, or you might not learn it the way you're supposed to learn it. It's
yeah,
almost like there needs to be that moment of doubt in order to have that breakthrough.
yeah. Exactly, because the thing is, things that yield results are not sexy. Creating a brand, it's not sexy to most people. It's way more sexy to people tell them, "Oh, just gonna create a quick store and make a crazy ton of money in 2 days." Everybody wants that. So
Mhm.
everybody's gonna react towards that, and that's why if you don't tell them, just say, "Listen, trust the process. You have to do it, and that's how you're gonna build. You're gonna build the house, build the foundations, and then you're going to make the money." And yeah, like I really I can relate to this when same thing when Mr. Miyagi and the painting the fence and brushing the car. Same thing. I was thinking like that's pretty much what I do with the students. I try to teach them the good basics of what to do that are not sexy, that are not cool, but then after it pays off. And I think it's just a good metaphor to life as well, that you build yourself up. Otherwise, like for example, me, like I wasn't in e-commerce before, but everything that I did, the cooking, the fact that I traveled a lot and I talked to a lot of people, that I worked in different industries and stuff, it really shaped me into who I am, and I think that's why I started being successful, just because it's not like I was a finished product and I started working on e-com and then boom, I just made it with no. It's just like all of these things, all of those failures. I failed so much. Like I failed like a huge amount of time in my life, and I still do, and I learned a lot of things. And it's just that's what led me to being successful. It's not just from 0 to 100. It's just not like that, and people don't get it. And when you tell them that, they just don't. They just want to hear about the fancy car and the fancy girlfriend and the fancy house. And that's it. Yeah.
That's reasonable. I mean, I've met a lot of people who they can't handle failure, and
Oh yeah.
to them it comes from that association where if they fail, someone was probably brutal with them, or and not
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mean, right?
Yeah.
They conditioned them to avoid failure when failure is a learning process. It's something that people need to embrace to a certain extent in order to understand both sides of something. You understand success. The more you understand failure, I think the more you end up understanding success. The same, same goes with me. I failed plenty. Like I
Yeah.
think I failed by the time I woke up to the time we started this interview. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm ever gonna like feel good about failing, but I recognize that feeling in my brain where it hurts, but
Mhm.
it's like the same way our muscles hurt when we've been working them out. Like I refer to as
Yeah.
smarting, where we're just okay.
Exactly.
My brain is recovering and it's getting stronger, and me going through school, I have to overcome a lot of that awful behavior from other students who they take the learning process and they corrupt it, and it's difficult. So I have sympathy for people who can't
Yeah.
can't fail, but I've overcome plenty of crap. So if I
Yeah.
can if I can do
Well,
it, they
yeah, same thing as you. I think that I didn't have a choice. Like I had dyslexia. I was failing the whole time. I couldn't. I didn't pass classes, and I had bad grades. I was always the weird kid. So I was always failing all my life until at one point I started liking what I did because I hated everything. I hated school. I hated everything. So
can.
when I started liking something and being good, becoming good at it, and then I started having results, then I realized, okay, I can make it happen, but just it takes time, like everything. But I felt so much, and now, yeah, like you said, I wouldn't say I like it, but it doesn't bother me. I just see it as a part of the process,
Mhm.
and it pushes me to move forward. And yeah, like you said, people that I truly believe, and I'm just 100% convinced that if you can't fail, if you cannot accept failure, you're never going to succeed ever, because you can't just like do like this. It's always going to be like this, and until you reach
Exactly.
the final the final there's no final step. Actually, it's always, it's not it's a journey. It never ends. But yeah, you have to be okay with failure. And I like this guy. I think maybe you probably know him, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, entrepreneur.
I haven't talked to him yet.
No,
Um,
no, no. He's like a multi-million dollar entrepreneur. Gary V is like, he has
okay.
the Gary V show and stuff. He's a famous, very very famous guy. He says that all the time. He says that he actually enjoys losing, enjoys failing, and it's pretty much the engine of his career, and that's why he did what he did, and it's huge. So it's just, yeah, it is no secret here. It's nothing crazy. It's just simple moving forward, education, yeah, enjoying the process.
Excellent. All right, we're getting pretty close to wrap up.
Sure,
So I got two more prepped for you.
go ahead.
So one of your videos is you talk about this big picture idea known as the ecom
Oh
puzzle,
yeah, that's right.
and it is fascinating to me, partially because out of all of the training that I've been through with Debutify, with all the people that I talked to so far, either somebody said it, but it was so like swiftly that it
Yeah,
didn't register, or no one said it at all.
yeah.
So can you explain it to somebody like me who's hearing it for the first time? Is like, what it is it that you characterize as the ecom puzzle?
Yeah. So pretty much the e-com puzzle is composed of every single piece that makes e-commerce. So the thing that explains people is to be successful, you can have in e-commerce, you could have the best ads ever that I was ever made. If you don't have the proper website with a proper marketing strategy, with the proper product, you're not going to sell. So the idea of the e-com puzzle is to have all of these pieces together: the Facebook ads, the Pinterest ads, the website, the marketing, the branding, the product description, the reviews. Everything needs to be combined for it to work. And like an engine, pretty much. If you have one piece missing, it's going to make a noise, or the car's not even going to start. It's the same thing. You need to have all of these pieces together to make it work, and it's that simple, to be honest. But most people don't get it, and they tend to rush that puzzle. So they tend to, for example, they're going to create a website very quickly. They're not going to respect the steps, and they're going to make a very, very bad looking website. And then they're going to have a great ad and a great everything, but then they won't understand, oh, I'm not converting, I'm not getting sales. And then they don't know where the issue is coming from. And that's the scariest part in e-commerce. And I tell people that's why you have to start step by step. Great website, then great branding, then great marketing. And if you have all of these steps, then you know what's happening. You're not doubting yourself anymore. Okay, it can't be the website because the website's great. It can't be the branding because the branding is great. So it must be the product. So at least you eliminating issues and you know where to see. And that's how I made like that's, I think, one of my strengths. I'm a very logic. I use common sense a lot for everything in my life. And I think that's why like I make things happen, just because I organize things that way. And I just realized, okay, so this is not working because I was struggling for a very long time in drop shipping, and then I'm like, okay, this is not working, but everything else is good now, so it must be this, and it was, and that's pretty much the puzzle, and that's why I try to teach it for people to understand that it's a piece, it's a whole plan,
Mm-hmm.
and to complete it, yeah, like the right way to make it work. Pretty much, that's just the idea.
Something that never really occurred to me before, but when people see the work of an artist,
Yeah.
they're amazed by it. Sometimes they think, wow, how did you do that? And I think where an artist excels is that artists see the logic in something that other people don't.
Hmm.
Like they see the logic in creating a picture or in a sculpture
Hmm.
or in a meal. So it all comes back to logic, but I think different people have different
Yeah, of course.
logical skill sets.
Yeah. We don't have the same logic. I see with friends, I see with my girlfriend and so on. We don't think the same way. We all have common sense, but we don't use it the same way. And it's just, yeah, everybody's different in their unique ways.
Yeah, same with my girlfriend. We played Connect Four, and she beat me 17 times in a row. So, so she was, whatever it is she's got, I ain't got it. So we're ready to wrap up. Usually, what I do for our last or question or talking point or whatever it is
Yeah,
you want to characterize it as is I just want to hand you the floor one last time in case there's any other wisdom or advice or like first steps that you want to encourage people to engage in. I suspect that you'll want to let people know once again about your programs as well, all of which can be paid for under $100, which is pretty darn good. So,
that's right. Except the Pinterest course that is like about 400 something with the discount.
okay, my mistake.
That's the main thing because yeah, it's a newest thing, so it's more expensive. But the dropshipping elite gold, which is my mastermind, obviously the link's going to be available at the end of the podcast.
Yep.
It's just a membership, $47 a month, where I share unique videos, exclusive videos that I don't share anywhere else. And you can also talk to me directly on Messenger, so not anybody else, just me. And you can ask me questions, and I reply via voice messages, and share my wisdom and just share whatever. Yeah, just share any just sorry reply to any of your questions. And yeah, people really like it. I don't promote it at all. That's the thing, because I want it small, so I don't promote it via ads and stuff. So I know everybody in there, like in a group, and some of them actually become really good friends of mine. So it's a cool community.
You've left me with an inspiration today when I asked you about the ecom puzzle because there was
Mhm.
this through line of everybody that I've talked to is that nobody edges anybody else out. Like even if two people do kind of the same thing, they both find their own way of approaching it. And so from and on a personal level, each person has their own personal puzzle. But today I realized for the first time is that there is a bigger puzzle as well. because there is a bigger picture to be formed yet. And I can certainly see how you fit into that puzzle, and you bring your own unique piece to it. So, for one, congratulations on your success, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great. It was really fun.
Terrific. All right, guys, I will see you next time. You might have found this show on any number of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or right here on Debutify. Whatever the case, if you enjoyed this content and want to help us thrive, please take a few moments to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you think is best. We also want to hear from you, so whether you think you'd be a good guest or want to weigh in on anything related to our show, you can email podcast@debutify.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Finally, this podcast is created by the passionate team at Debutify. If you're ready to take the plunge into e-commerce or are looking to up your game, head over to Debutify.com and see how it can change your life and the lives of many through what you do next.